And to put into perspective just how long Congressman Rangel has actually been representing our city in Congress, he served on the House Judiciary Committee during then President Nixon's impeachment hearings. He's not aged today, but he has been there doing the job for a long period of time. His commitment to the community serves as evident in everything he does, from the legislation he puts forth down to the place where he lives, down the street from his childhood home, 132nd Street. He's a true example of a caring and committed public servant, and a model for us all, remembering that all politics is local. We should all be so lucky to have a vibrant and meaningful career as he has had, and I'm honored to serve on the delegation with him. And let me just say, when I got into this race in early June last year, they said, you got to come down to Washington and meet some of the people there who can maybe help you undertake this challenge. And we were down there to meet with some members of the congressional delegation, and a big storm came that there was almost like a hurricane in Washington. And we met in a meeting off the Capitol, about in a room off the Capitol, about 3 blocks away. And because of the storm, the chairman couldn't leave the building, so I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to meet Chairman Rangel. And don't you know, he called into that room that we were in and said, get that young man up here, I want to see him. And I thought, oh, A, I'm in trouble, and B, how does he even know who I am? And so I walked into the Capitol building, and I've always said what an honor it is to serve there. I thank you all for that. Please come and visit me if you haven't been, and if some of you were down for the inauguration you saw. When you stand in front of those buildings, you get goosebumps on the back of your neck, and you understand history. And there I was walking into not just the places where the public goes, but I was kind of walking into the labyrinth of very impressive hallways and office rooms. And sure enough, there's a big sign there that says, Ways and Means Committee. Now you have to understand, the Ways and Means Committee, it sounds a little dry, I guess, if you will. It is the oldest committee in all the committees in the United States Congress. It is as old as our nation itself. From that committee and the chairmanship have come many presidents and many U.S. senators and many ambassadors, many secretaries of state. It is where the critical decisions are made, because the House has that revenue-raising power that even the Senate doesn't have, and that's why it's so critical and important. So here I am standing in front of this doorway and thinking, in law, I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to not even know who I am. He's going to walk past me. What am I going to do? And sure enough, coming out of the chamber floor comes the chairman, as he's known, carrying his folders of papers and looking very busy. And all the way down the hall, he spots me and he looks at me and says, I've been waiting for you for 30 years. Where have you been? And all that he had to do, he took me into his conference room and we chatted, and he knew who I was, he knew what I had done in the city council, he knew about the seat, he'd known that for 30 years we've not had the representation here in Staten Island that we have, that's focused for the people and not for the powerful, and he wanted to change that. He was committed to do it, and he was true to his word. He did incredible work for me and was very, very concerned about who represents Staten Island and Brooklyn in the Congress. Of course, I realized later, found this out in a conversation back in the City Council, that we share a very dear friend. Councilmember Inez Diggins is one of my best friends in the City Council, and I didn't realize it's actually his protege and someone who's worked with him as a district leader and a dear friend. So I kind of got a sense that maybe Inez gave him a little heads up on me. Because when he started talking about my work on garbage, I was like, wait a minute, he can't know all this. Maybe Inez knew that. Let me just say this, finally. That wasn't just a one-time make nice meeting. Every day that I'm there walking through the hall or in a meeting, you see the chairman, he's got a smile, he says hello. He could come from a meeting with Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Harry Reid in the Senate and Nancy Pelosi and him, and he walks out of there and he comes back to the Capitol. He's not full of himself. He doesn't think he's any more important than the people who vote to send him to Washington. And also, let me just say, and I forgot to shout out to Mac O'Callahan, who is here, and Margie Garvin, two dear friends who helped me get here. I want to thank them for business. I'll be in trouble for that. But he didn't forget, and just look at the change our country's going in. It used to be tax cuts for the rich. Now it's tax cuts for 95% of Americans. It's tuition tax credits for us middle class. It is child credits, child care credits. It is a change in this country. He's the man who's engineering it. I could go on forever. I know he's got to go 12 other places. But let me just say to you all that of all the things that I've seen and witnessed in the last 9 months or so, again, I thank you for allowing me to do that. One of the most incredible things is this force of nature, this man of the people, this war hero, this American hero, CBR, Chairman Charles V. Rangel.